Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cams rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. I've got an interesting individual in here today. And today is Sunday. So it is the tail end of the weekend, but it's an extended weekend because it's also Memorial Day.
Tomorrow's Memorial Day, yes, sir.
Mark Hogan on my left.
Howdy,
Good
everybody.
afternoon, man. What's going on?
I'm really excited about this. We have today the tallest Texan alive right now at 7'4". Go ahead.
I checked. He's actually only 7'3 3/4".
You checked.
No, I didn't.
You marked the door, didn't you?
No,
We had to duck down, so it doesn't count.
So we're going to include some pictures of this guy standing up just to give you a better chance of taking a look. And he's an incredible individual. He's led a very interesting life. And once we get into our conversation, I think you guys are going to find the same thing. Vernon Ridenour, good to have you aboard, man. How are you?
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming out, man.
Yeah, and he's not a native Texan, though he looks like one, but we talked about that a little while ago. Where were you born again?
Helsinki, Finland.
Helsinki, Finland. How did that happen?
Well, after World War II, Finland was on the side of Germany, the Axis country, and we occupied the countries that were our enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So we had an embassy in Helsinki. My dad was stationed there as military attaché, and boom, I was born there.
Wow. So did you become an American citizen?
I've always been an American citizen because my dad was Army.
And he was
My
born on
mother-
a base. So.
My mother was an American, and I was on an American real estate. Now I had to go and swear allegiance to the United States when I was 14,
Mm-hmm.
but my birth certificate was signed by Dean Russ, Secretary of Defense.
Wow. So that makes you an American citizen automatically.
Automatically, if your mother and father are Americans and you're born overseas, you're automatically an American.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I
But
didn't
I'm
know
also-
that.
but
I
I'm
thought you had to
also-
be born here.
No, and I'm also a Finn.
Okay.
So dual
Because-
citizenship.
Well, but I had to get up to Finnish citizenship, but Finland doesn't. Finland says since you're born there, you're a Finn.
So they wouldn't let you give it up.
No, they won't. But the United States had me give it up,
Oh, okay.
But so if I ever decide I want to go back to Finland, all I had to do is take my birth certificate to the Finnish consulate in Washington or New York City, and I can get a passport to go to Finland.
Have you ever been back? I mean,
No.
how long did you live there before your dad got
I think
transferred?
it was like 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah. Kind of
Wow.
like me. I was born in Little Rock. I got out of there as fast as I could.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's Finland known for? I think they're known for their food, right? Don't they make great
The
food?
Finns,
Mhm.
Vikings.
Oh,
And
okay.
I got a little bit of Viking blood in me, too.
Cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
A little bit of tough, huh?
Yeah. Also, 1939, the Finns had a battle with Russia over a border dispute, and the Finns tore the Russians up because the Russians used to wear gray uniforms with a red star on the center of their cap.
Makes a good target,
The
doesn't it?
Finns wore white, so they blended into the snow.
Yeah.
And they said it was really easy to kill a Russian. All you had to do was hit that red star.
Right.
Yeah, and you're done. I like it. All right, so you're 7'4" tall.
Oh, probably like
that's-
you said, a little bit earlier, 7'3" and 7/8". With a little bit of age, there's a little
Nominal, huh?
shrinking.
Yeah, I got you.
When did
And-
you realize that you were going to be mega tall compared to all your
14.
Yeah? It took that long, huh? So you weren't born
No,
just unusually.
I was average all the way up until about the 6th grade.
And that's when you started drinking gasoline or something.
That's
and
when
you-
I started going from 6'2" to 7'4" in 2 years.
Wow. Now, I know that growth spurts like that can sometimes cause heart problems. Did that
Well,
happen with you?
I have a small, normal size heart to your size. My heart's small compared to me.
Okay.
I have low blood pressure because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I've never really had a problem with my height up until I got about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then I
happened
started
to you?
having bad low blood pressure.
That's
Okay.
pretty common in really tall people
Right.
because
Well, most tall people don't live to be 76 years old.
right.
You know, they die in their 40s and 50s and 60s.
Well,
because-
we've got some good medical progress going on and keep you around for a while.
Yeah, that's why I'm living in Houston. I'm at the best medical center in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And my insurance is with Memorial Hermann, which I think is the best hospital in the.
They've got one out in Katy where I live.
Mhm.
So on with the life story of Vernon Ridenour.
Well, from the time I was born until the age of 17, when I moved to Austin, Texas, I lived in 19 different countries. I've lived all over Europe, Africa, Asia, India, in that area, Bombay and Calcutta, Hong Kong, Singapore, Macau, Tokyo, Saigon.
That's what being an army brat will do, huh?
Army
Oh,
brat
wow.
attached
Okay.
to an embassy. So I got to meet people of all kinds of nationalities and cultures and ethnic beliefs and religious beliefs, and it was very eye-opening. I used to laugh as I got in my teens. I used to laugh at Americans overseas, though.
Mm-hmm.
Americans go overseas to a foreign country, and they expect that country to be speaking English.
Right.
They don't expect that they're supposed to be learning that language when they go over there, because they're invading somebody else's homeland,
Mm-hmm.
and they expect that person to cater to them. No. You learn the language of where you're going, or do like I did. I drew a picture of what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in France for a little while. My brother was trying to learn French. We go into a restaurant, and he's going to try to order a hamburger. I says, hold it up. I drew a picture of it and showed it to the waiter. He took the picture, brought me the hamburger, brought my brother a hamburger. When it came time to pay, we didn't have to pay. They wanted the picture.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, he's a quite accomplished graphic illustrator.
Right. Yeah, I was going to get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. We'll hold off on that, but that's
yeah.
why.
You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words
Mhm.
or 1,000 calories.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
right.
There you go.
But-
So, Vernon, I wanted to kind of cover what it would mean being 7'4" tall. You know, most places have 8-foot ceilings inside,
Well, there's
and I think doors are 7'2", right?
there's buildings in downtown Houston. The second and third and fourth floors
Mm-hmm.
are 7 foot high.
Really?
Yeah, not 8 foot.
Wow.
The ground floor was 10 foot. The other floors were 7 foot, because most people are not 7'4".
Right.
There's been times I've gone into buildings that have 7 foot or even 8 foot ceilings. They mistakenly put exit signs right in the middle
Oh,
of it,
yeah.
and
Definitely.
they hang down 6 to 9 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I've knocked many a one off of a ceiling before.
I bet you have.
Wow.
And I bet that once you pass 7 feet tall or getting in that neighborhood, you learn pretty quick to watch out.
Right.
I mean, do you get nervous around the airport? It's
No.
not that bad or anything, right?
No,
Parking garages have got to be tough too, because none of those are 8 foot.
well, they don't like me at the airport, and they don't like me at the courthouse. I set off the metal detector.
I'll bet you do.
Wow.
No, I got a 15-inch rod in my right leg.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
For
wow.
by being hit by a car, and May the 13th of 2/15 on 1960.
Mm-hmm.
The guy said he didn't see me.
Right. He probably wasn't seeing anything.
Yeah, back in the 60s. So yeah, parking garages are awfully low. I know that a lot of those are like, I think 6'5", 6'7", something like that. So that's got to be a tough thing.
Well, I don't drive.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't driven since 1984.
Okay.
I ride passenger in a pickup truck most of the time. I fit in his car without too much trouble.
Mhm.
You know, and he's
Dodge
got a
Challenger,
little
Midnight Black,
close
red
to the
line package.
ground, but
Yeah, I'm hoping eventually you'll get a nice car.
Yeah, thanks.
well, my brother drove Z's all the way up until
Even
5
smaller.
years ago. Then he bought
Yeah.
a pickup truck, and he's talking about trading that pickup truck for the new Z.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he likes, and he's 2 years older than me, but he's only 6'3".
So,
Little-
what about
little bitty guy.
clothing? Has clothing been a challenge for you? No.
Wranglers, I wear a 34 waist, a 38. Wranglers make them all the way up to a 44 inseam.
Really? I
Yes.
didn't know that.
I only wear a size 14 shoe.
Wow. Okay.
But you can find your clothes stocked on the rack as a matter of normal
Most
course.
places,
Really?
shirts and all J.C. Penney's, you
Mhm.
know, my shoes, Academy, Walmart, whatever.
Really? Wow.
It doesn't take a half a cow to make my shoes like it does to Shaq.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's only 7'1".
Yeah.
He wears a size 22. I only wear a 14.
Wow. Okay. Something else. Yeah. What about appetite? Would somebody 7'4" have a larger appetite than, like, let's say,
well,
Mark at 4'6"?
I think yesterday I ate 2,200 calories, and the only thing I ate was banana nut bread.
That's
Wow.
a pretty good diet.
Yeah, I like banana nut bread, but dang, that's
I ate-
2,200
I-
calories.
I ate-
That's a lot
I
of
ate
it.
10 small muffins,
Mhm.
and I ate 3 large muffins. I've been having this urge for banana nut bread, and I haven't had any in 3 or 4 years. So I went out and basically yesterday I splurged.
Okay.
I'm a junk food. I gain a lot of weight off of junk food. I eat one meal a day.
I love candy and all that kind of stuff myself.
I like-
I'm a junk food junkie also.
I like candy. I eat hot tamales,
Yeah.
the little
Oh, yeah.
cinnamon deal. I'll eat Snickers every now and then,
Yeah.
or Milky Way, but my thing is popcorn.
Oh, yeah?
White cheddar popcorn.
Ooh, yeah.
My thing is Triscuits. You know, stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I used to like eating peanut butter with a spoon.
There
So
you
did
go.
my dad. My dad used to do the same thing. What happened to the peanut butter? And he's over there watching TV with the peanut butter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peanut butter's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while for me, but I really like
I used to
peanut butter a
like
lot.
drinking. I gave that up. I drink now about one beer every month or two,
Yeah, it's not bad.
but I'm picky about what I drink.
What do you
Yeah.
like?
Well, let's see, Bodega Negra,
Okay.
Pacifico,
You know,
or Guinness. Guinness is my favorite
stout.
because Guinness is the number one highest alcohol content lager out there.
Right.
It's Guinness, Newcastle, Black and Tan, and then Harps. And Guinness and Harps are brewed at the same brewery.
Okay. Where is that? England?
Scotland.
Scotland. Okay.
Scotland.
I should have known that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we've done so many whiskey and beer taste tests that I should have known that.
I don't know anything about alcohol or whiskey or
Yeah,
beer.
Well,
you
nothing.
do.
Texas has started brewing some fairly decent whiskeys.
Right.
Yeah.
I taught you how to tell the proof and the
Yeah, I
alcohol
know.
percentage.
But that
It's a little complicated for
it
you. 'cause
entailed math.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's one step. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's okay.
100 proof is 50%.
See?
Yeah. So
See? Now you remember?
yeah, well, 150 is easy, but you start getting into 27, and stuff like I can't do that kind of math in my head.
70 proof is what?
So I don't know.
Oh, God. We got into the
67%.
division again.
35%.
Something like that.
There you go. Thank you, Vernon.
460%. I don't know.
Alcohol, like your beer.
Mhm.
Most of your beers is like 3%. Your wines start off at about 15 or 16%, and Guinness is at between 12 and 14%. So,
Yeah, so it's up there in the light
Yeah,
wine
you got it.
category.
so one Guinness is the equivalent of 4 regular beers.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, and they're big cans too to start out with. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I want to hear more about your life travels, and I know we got something coming up that you've agreed to talk about, some legal problems. But whenever you're ready,
Well, anytime.
what's next? What happened next?
Well, let's see. Being born,
Yeah, we got
And
that
then-
part.
bouncing from one country to another, learning that most people when they grow up, it takes them a year or two to make friends, and then they keep those friends for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any lifetime friends. I had a friend here that I had to learn how to be a friend to within 2 or 3 days because I didn't get to enjoy them as a friend, but for maybe 9 months to a year.
Before you be off somewhere
Then I'll
else.
Yeah.
somewhere else and meet somebody else and had to start all over again.
That's kind of sad, you make a good buddy and
Mhm.
it's so short-lived.
And you don't have it anymore. So you learn about making do with what you got at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Make this, who you meet today, make that important. Enjoy that experience today. Tomorrow's a whole different game. I heard somebody say, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Mm-hmm.
Live today. Whoever you meet today, enjoy them today.
Mm-hmm.
You may not see them tomorrow. They may not be here tomorrow. They may croak in the middle of the night, and that's all over with.
Yeah, we're not
never
promised
So,
tomorrow.
I learned that whatever happened that day, that's what you enjoy. And I did that even later when I used to hitchhike all across the countryside and everything else. And you get in a car with a stranger or a truck with a stranger, and you became friends and got along with each other, or trip down the highway or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But-
People focus so much on the destination that they forget the journey is to be
Yeah,
enjoyed.
And it's the journey it's about smelling the flowers along the way. Why are you in such a big hurry to get down there? People graduate from college and they don't go out and look for a job. They go out and look for a position
Mm-hmm.
because they want to go from college to success automatically.
Mhm.
They don't want to work towards it.
Right.
They don't appreciate what it takes to get somewhere. As I was growing up, I wanted a car. My dad said, okay. So he brought me a chassis with the wheels on it. He said, build it. By building that car with my brother, putting it all the parts, components together, we knew what made it run. And then as it was running, if something happened down the way, we knew how to fix it.
Right.
That was part of that journey. You get in the car, you worked for it.
But see, those were the good old days. Now we live in an instant gratification society,
Well, yes,
consumer based,
Sometimes.
where you can get anything
Sometimes.
and you can get it now.
Yeah, well, people want it now. But
Right. I'm not saying
but
it's
you-
good. It's just
You
that's
got
where
people
we're at.
that can get on a computer and type it in and order it and boom. Or you can get the person that goes out there and still does it with their hands, like the person who built
Right.
this table here. He had to set it up, a program probably on his computer system that did the cutters, but he had to know how to do all that and cut the wood and then also to how to stain it and cover it.
Yeah, a lot of it was done by hand. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's- and a lot of those arts are going away
Yeah,
too.
I definitely know about building stuff by hand. I built
Yeah.
4 houses in Austin, and I built a motel in Galveston.
Which one?
It's now, I think, the Econo Lodge at 61st and Broadway, right
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
It used to be known as the Republic Inn. And I
Okay.
built it in 1983 and 1984.
Wow. Okay.
And in the course of building that motel is when I earned the dubious reputation as being a killer.
A killer. What's all that about?
Well, I was the general contractor on building a motel.
Mm-hmm.
I carried a lot of money around that wasn't mine, belonged to a lady in Austin. She was funding it
Mm-hmm.
to build this motel. I paid for the concrete work, the plumbing work, the electrical work, the air conditioning work. I paid for all that. And I was there on the site every day.
Okay.
Well, I was married at that time, and we were living in Austin. We came down to Galveston to build this building. Well, my wife is from Galveston.
Okay.
She grew up in Galveston. She went to Ball High.
Yep.
She knew every Tom, Dick, and Harry in Galveston County. I didn't know how well she knew them until later, but she knew them very intimately.
Okay.
On August the 9th, 1984, I leave work early to take my wife out to dinner and celebrate because her birthday is August the 10th. My birthday is August the 11th.
Okay.
Because I have been working with a lot of money, I used to carry a 357 right here.
Mm-hmm.
I get home, and as I neared the bedroom, I'm hearing sounds I didn't like. And when I opened the door, I saw something I definitely didn't like. And the reaction for that, what I saw, was me pulling my gun out and popping a cap.
Okay.
And I shot her, him, and the bullet went through the bed, through the floor, and stuck in the ground underneath the floor. I killed my wife and her lover because they were in my house, in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
What a
As soon
shock
as
to walk in on
And
that.
as soon as I did that, a moment or two later, I dropped the gun. I went over to the telephone, and I called the police and told them what I did.
Okay.
I was arrested, taken to jail.
And this happened in Galveston, right?
Yes,
Okay.
in 1984.
Wow.
I was tried on March the 5th through March the 9th of 1985.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law testified on my behalf. The mother of the gentleman I shot testified on my behalf.
Hmm.
She said he was wrong. The judge understood where I was coming from, why I did what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sentenced not to 2 counts of murder or 2 counts of manslaughter. I was sentenced to aggravated assault, and I was given a 25-year sentence, which
Wow.
was the smallest sentence I could get at that time.
Mm-hmm. How old
And
were you at that time?
37.
Okay.
And I was sent to Huntsville.
Okay.
And I was sent, and I did my first 12 years at the Walls unit.
Okay.
That's the one you see on TV
That's
all
right.
the time.
Yeah.
That's where they execute people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I did 12 years there. And in my job, one of the first jobs I had was working new construction, doing the blueprints for all the new buildings they were going to be able to, which was the Michaels unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, I went to work for Windham School District. Windham School District is the high school, or the school, for anybody going to prison.
Okay.
Dr. Lane Murray was the head of the school district,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically worked for her as an illustrator for all the vocational courses. I
Okay.
drew, if you did wall and floor, I drew the pictures how to do that. Automotive, I drew how all the car parts and how they went together. Did that for about 9 years. I was a cartoonist also for the Echo, which is the prison newspaper.
Okay.
After I worked for Windham off and on then too, putting in libraries at other units because I understood the Dewey Decimal System. A lot of people don't even know what the Dewey Decimal System is.
Mark knows what the Dewey Decimal System
That's
is.
right. It's a decimal system invented by Professor Dewey.
And
Yeah.
what is it for then, Mark? Let's explain it to the audience.
It puts dots where they need to be.
And I also know how to shepherdize law cases.
I'm a little rusty on that one.
Mark used to shepherdize before breakfast.
Well, shepherdizing is when you take one court case, a case of precedents,
Right.
and you get all prevalent cases to it so that you can go back in the law books and look them up.
Right.
Because you're looking for either illegal search and seizure, or like the problem they have here in Houston for a long time was the no-knock warrants.
Yeah, it's a consolidation
Yeah.
of case law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But doing things with law books and regular books, they would open up a new prison unit. They would send me out there to set up the law library and the regular libraries, so that the inmates out there had books to read.
Mark, do you remember the old cards
Here
that
we
you'd go to
go.
the library and there'd be a this file of all these cards?
Oh yeah,
and that's where you go and
index
find
cards.
your books. Yeah,
Right.
those were based on
And they were done with the Dewey Decimal System.
the Dewey
Well, that's what I said.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Certain numbers means you go over here in history, over here language, over
Yeah,
here.
the 400s are Smokey the Bear or something, and the 500s is fiction, and the
Things like
600s is how to build your own.
and
rifle.
And Smokey the Bear was in the forestry area.
Well, that's right, and the 400s.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
All right.
But yeah, I did 8.5 years the first time in prison, got out on parole, revoked, went back, did 6 years.
What was it revoked for?
I didn't do what they wanted me to do as quick as they wanted me to do it.
They hate that.
And I lived in Austin at the time. And Austin is where all the main offices for the government
State
are.
capital.
Right.
So if you do anything wrong, they want you to go back because they want, our inmates here, they're good acting inmates. They don't do no wrong.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
So you were paroled out, but then it got revoked and you had to go back.
Yeah. Anytime you're on a sentence under the 3G law like I was, your street time don't count on your revoke.
Right.
So it took me 31 years to do 25 years in the penitentiary.
Crap.
I got out in August the 16th, 2011. Came to Houston, lived over in Acres Homes at a halfway house.
Tough neighborhood. Acres is.
Well,
Not for him, it wasn't.
For some people,
Yeah.
it might be. It wasn't for me because 99% of my friends were black,
Right.
and I get along with everybody. And it's how you deal with people, how you talk to them, how you act around them. I never had that problem.
That's really common, though, in any subgroup or group of people. Once you're accepted, you're a brother.
Oh yeah,
You
and
know.
the other thing though is, if you want respect, you have to give respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's the respect issue. That's the issue. You don't belittle somebody. Now I belittle people in a comic way because I'm 7'4", and how can I do anything but belittle somebody because everybody's shorter than me?
That's like Hank here calling me 4'6", and it's damn well I'm 4'8".
Well, if you were 4'8", you would be a nano.
Yeah.
A nano?
Yeah, that's the Spanish word for midget.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a new one now. I didn't know
Starts
that.
at 4'8".
So I'm curious about your time in prison. I mean, I know those racks are what, 6'2"?
Yeah, how'd that work out?
So I mean, did you just have to sleep with your legs hanging
I
off?
found a writ of cruel and unusual punishment
Oh, yeah.
right after I went to prison, and about 6 weeks later, they moved me into a dorm with a bed.
Okay.
A bed that was as long as me.
Well, that's cool.
But
bet
you
they had
had,
to
you
make
had,
it.
And
you had to
that's where I
find the
stayed on
le-
that unit. That's where I stayed. And whenever I went to another unit, they had to make me a bed and have a mattress my size.
just took a little legal research.
You had to know when to push.
Yeah.
There's certain times you don't want to push.
Yeah.
But there are certain times you can push.
Yeah. I'm sure even in normal life, you can't just check into a hotel unless you scope out the amenities,
He'll tell you my feet hang out about that much at the house.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. I'm so used to it.
So 31 years. So I guess after your time, you weren't paroled. You were just let out, right?
Well, I worked for the state of Texas for free for 25 years.
Yep. That's the way they do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's slave labor. And it is slave labor because after doing 25 years, they gave me $100 when I got out of prison.
Wow.
$50 when I got out, and $50 more when I got to the parole office.
It's $4 a year.
That's crazy.
That's math. I'll catch you up later.
Okay.
You go to a federal penitentiary, you get paid sometimes 25 cents an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to North Carolina and did time, you would make $1 a day and 50 cents on Saturday. So you make $5.50 a week.
Wow.
In Texas, you don't make nothing. They want you to pay.
And it used to be, I think they've changed it, that the
used
prison
to-
system was totally self-sufficient. They grew their own food and raised their own
Yeah.
livestock.
I know the one in Pearland's like that. I can't remember the name of it right off the bat, but yeah, I went and visited that prison actually, and yeah, they've got big crops and all
you
that.
ever go to Sugarland?
No, I haven't been in the one in Sugarland.
The old central unit was built because of Imperial Sugar.
Right.
And the inmates were out there cutting
Mm-hmm.
cane sugar all day long.
Oh yeah.
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 It worked for Imperial.
Yeah. Did great for them.
So let me ask you a question. I just want to get your opinion on something.
Okay.
Do you think long-term incarceration works?
No.
I didn't think so.
We've had some shows on that, and Hank's got some friends.
Anything at 10 years, you've totally messed up the person
Mm-hmm.
because they get institutionalized. They
Right.
get laxative. It's almost like what you get after smoking a joint
Mm-hmm.
for 8 or 9 a day for about 2 or 3 months or a year. You get complacent.
Right.
Same thing happens when you lock somebody up too long. They lose that drive.
Their
they lose that
individuality
desire to do something right or wrong. You
Tell
know?
somebody
There's
when
a
to
lot
get
of
up.
people that when they get out of prison, they come out here and fuck up again.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? So they'll go back. Why?
Right.
Because they like it there.
It's
They
comfortable.
Well, they don't
in a
have to.
weird
Well,
way.
it becomes
they
the
don't have
norm.
to-
Is what it is. It
Yeah.
just becomes the norm.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they get 3 hots in a cot.
3 hots
You
in a
know?
cot. You get told what to do, when to do it, how to
Right.
do
And
it.
they've made a lot of friends in there, and they kind of miss them, I guess, sometimes. Huh.
And the gay population really likes it there
Really?
Yeah, I'll bet.
because they got a captive audience.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So do you think there's a good alternative to long-term incarceration?
Yes,
What would that be?
education.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
You know, when a person goes down there, they require them to get their GED,
Mm-hmm.
but they should also have them take a trade course or something that they can do when they get out. But they also have to get where the free world relaxes how they treat people coming out of prison.
Yeah, see, that's one of the biggest problems, I think, is that once you're convicted for the rest of your life,
All right.
whether you're in prison or out. And I just don't think it should be on every form that you have to fill out. I don't think you should have to
Well,
put it on for a job application or anything.
lot
I
of
really
places-
don't.
lot of
Because you've
places-
done your time. It's
Right.
over.
You paid
Well,
your
a lot
debt.
Of
Yeah,
places,
it's
it's
finished.
after
Yeah.
if you have a conviction after 7 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now my conviction was 39 years, 40 something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to fill an application, but we'll discuss doing interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lifetime ago. Yeah.
What people need to realize though is male population of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
1/5 of the male population has been or is in prison. 1/5.
That's a big number.
Prison or jail?
Prison.
Okay.
You want jail and everything, it's about 1/3 or almost 1/4.
Yeah.
But 1 in 5,
Mm-hmm.
prison.
20% of the male population.
Yeah. So was there overcrowding at the Walls unit?
When I went to prison,
Mhm.
there was 18,000 inmates. There were 11 prison units. When I got out of prison, there was 138 prison units, and there was 235,000 inmates.
Man.
We went through Ann Richards to George Bush,
Yeah.
and George Bush went crazy building prison units because the bottom fell out of the oil business, and all these different counties all over the state wanted a way to make money. A new prison in your county brings in $3 million a year.
Well, I'd say on the other side of that coin, unless they're out there creating charges and just nabbing people off the street, these convicts have done something.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe they have expanded the sentences to put them in there. I mean, I don't know, but
There's a lot of
I bet the vast majority
there's
of
a lot
drug
of people
drug
in
cases.
prison that should be in prison, but there's a lot of people in prison that should not be in prison. How about getting a 99-year sentence for a joint?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And how many people are in prison on a 99-year sentence for a doobie?
A bunch from the 70s, I would think.
I
Yeah.
know at least 100.
Really?
I can tell you where they came from. That was Dallas. I can tell you about cases here in this county, Harris County, under Clegenhagen and Delahite and people like that. And because if they were black, they were automatically guilty. You know, they say innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent.
Well, you're guilty until you can afford to prove yourself innocent.
Yeah.
But there's a big key right there because
Now,
I'll tell you.
I didn't have a very good lawyer, but I got probably the best lawyer in the state right now for a buddy and a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Mike and Dick DeGuerin.
Oh, he's pretty good, I hear.
Yeah, Mike DeGuerin. Dick is president of the Texas Bar Association. They make about $1 million a case.
Oh, yeah.
They handle the top cases and then so I go in their office downtown and drink their coffee every now and then.
Oh, tell him I said hello. I want to keep on good graces with all those people.
Hey, they went to Stephen F. Austin when I went to William B. Travis in Austin.
Okay.
And we went to UT together.
You've met a lot of famous people, haven't you?
Oh, are they famous? Percy Foreman was famous.
Percy Foreman was famous.
Ray
Dick
Short
DeGuerin,
Haynes-
I think
Wordsworth
Dick
Haynes was
DeGuerin's
famous.
famous in Texas.
DeGarrett
You know?
and DeGarrett, they're more renowned or noteworthy, but
Yeah.
they're not really famous.
Right.
Good term. Yeah, good
Earl
term.
Campbell, no, that's famous.
Yeah.
Dan Blocker, remember him?
Yeah, Haas,
Yeah.
Bonanza. He was a Texas guy.
Really?
Yeah, we partied a few times when he was making Bonanza.
I never heard a bad word about that guy.
No, Dan was one of those people that was pure country.
Mm-hmm.
He was a country
Well,
boy.
what town was he from? He's
Well,
buried there.
They got a ranch. The Blockers have a ranch out on the other side of San Antonio.
Okay.
But I could, Willie's not bad.
Right.
Willie's
He made this
He-
shirt for me.
he's a downright country boy.
Mhm.
Bocephus, he's
Yeah.
not bad.
Hank Jr.
Oh, Cephas.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I had a friend back. Well, I said I was working Guinness World Book of Records and all that.
Yeah, and this was off camera, so let's talk about that a little bit. So, what did you do for Guinness Book of World Records?
Standing out in front of one of their museums in Myrtle Beach or Sarasota, Florida, or
Okay.
Niagara Falls, New York, or Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
That's one thing about being 7'4". You're going to generate some attention. You
I
know.
worked New Orleans for a while, standing out in front of the clubs to get you to go inside the clubs. Everybody else used to have to scream and holler. All I had to do was stand there. Being so tall, everybody come gather around me.
Oh, yeah.
What are you standing here for? Pointing there.
Yeah.
And that was it. You know?
Good job.
Yeah, it's being slightly different. But I went to Myrtle Beach in '79, right after Urban Cowboy was made out of Gillies,
Right.
and I worked up there for a while. And I had a little head shop art gallery, and I ran into this guy that played a mean fiddle.
Mhm.
His name was Jeff Cook.
Okay.
And he told me, you need to come down to this club down here, downtown Myrtle Beach, called the Bowery. And I went down there and listened to him and his buddies for a while. And 1981, 1982, 1983, 1984, they were #1 best-selling group in the world in country music.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the group, Alabama.
Ah,
Jeff Cook is a fiddle player for Alabama.
right.
Okay.
So I know Randy and Rance and all those guys. Back in the 60s, I worked at a club called the Whiskey A Go-Go
Oh wow.
LA?
On the strip.
on
Yeah.
Sunset Strip right next
Yeah.
to the gazebo.
Talk
Yeah.
about some names have gone through
But
there.
that's
Wow.
because I was working out at Universal Studios, and on the weekends I used to fly to Vegas at the old Fremont Hotel,
Oh yeah.
and I sit out in front of that place doing this as Pioneer Pete and getting tipped for letting people into the hotel.
That's cool. And what were you doing for Universal?
I was an artist for the Universal.
Okay.
I did the cell work, which is frame by frame,
Mhm.
background work for cartoons, or take segments, different sales of film, a motion picture,
Mhm.
and doing the marquee posters.
Well, that's
for
cool. Yeah.
that
What
used to
year
hang-
was that?
65 to 71.
The
golden years.
He was down there when
That's awesome.
we took a trip to California to see my grandmother, and we went to Universal Studios and Knott's Berry Farm and all
Well,
that.
I'm sitting at GG Coffee Shop, which was next door to Schwab's drugstore. The Schwab's is where they talk about people meeting them at the soda fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's at the corner of Sunset, Laurel Canyon Boulevard.
Okay.
And this guy walks in, I'm sitting out front drawing, and this older, fat gentleman comes in and says something about my artwork and kept on going. And somebody says, be careful, he's kind of...
Okay.
Mhm.
But he comes back and looks at my work. He said, you need to be working at Universal. You're good. I said, well, I went out there a couple of times. They won't let me even on the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
He takes out his wallet, pulls out one of his business cards, and writes something on the back of it. He says, show this guy to the guy at the gate tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And he leaves. His name was Ralph Levy.
Hmm.
He was the producer of the Jack Benny Show.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
He got me into Universal.
So you worked in their illustration department?
I
or
worked in the art department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool. Well, I was only about 6 years old when we took that trip out there. I remember that Universal really clear. And we went down a street, and it had Bewitched House, and it had all these other houses. The Munsters were right there, and the Psycho House. You could see them all in one place.
That
And I thought,
basically Burbanks and all that, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought to myself when I was 6, everything I believe in is bullshit. You know?
Well, you know, did you see where they sold the Brady Bunch house on the news
Yes,
the
I
other day
did.
for $5.5 million?
It didn't.
It's
Yeah,
a nice house. I like that.
yeah,
house.
but
Yeah, they went in, they had it on a DIY network on fixing the house up
Yeah.
and getting it like it was on the set.
it
Yeah.
even has the horse sculpture right there in the living room.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the actual set, it might have been a house, but it didn't have a second floor. Well, they
no.
had a second floor.
The house, that was the original house. They had to go in, though,
And make it
create
look
the
like that
second
again.
floor because they had
Kitchen
the
looks like that.
bedrooms, you know.
It's got everything but Alice in that kitchen. Man.
So you were hanging out right around Laurel Canyon, and
Well,
this was
I-
in the '60s, right?
Well, I've been to Topanga Canyon. You ever heard of Topanga Canyon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You ever heard of a guy by the name of, what was his name? Oh, he killed a bunch of people.
Manson?
Charles Manson. Yeah.
He lived right down the street from
Right.
me,
Wow.
down the road from me.
Yeah.
I used to, you know where Happy Valley is?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, Roy Rogers got his ranch out there, and that's where Trigger is.
Yeah. Trigger got stuffed.
And then, let's see, 1965, I was at a place in San Francisco. They called it the Deadhead House. It was at 701 Hage Street.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that lived there, he was a digger. And nowadays, they don't recognize him as a digger anymore. They recognize him as Rock and Roll Hall of Famer
Mm-hmm.
Garcia,
Jerry Garcia.
Okay.
Grateful Dead,
Yeah, yeah.
the Deadhead House, 701 Hayes Street,
Yeah.
8 Ashbury.
Right.
Yeah, I know
right.
there was a lot of the guys back in the '60s that came that lived down in Laurel Canyon, Mama Cass and all those people.
Well,
I was wondering if you ever got
Laurel
a chance
Canyon,
to
when you
meet him.
went up Laurel Canyon in the old days, it went up to the top of Mulholland Drive. And
Right.
is where the Black Dahlia lived in one of the little bungalows that where what were her name, Billie Jean, who later became Marilyn Monroe, lived. They lived in those little bungalows. Then go on down, and it goes into Burbank.
Right.
Back then, there was like one or two recording or movie studios, right?
Yeah.
You go out to L.A. now, you go to Tarzana, which is the northern part above north. There's 3,000 movie studios,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
but they're porn studios.
Yeah.
That's the porn industry. Hollywood is still the number one porn industry, and you got how many regular movie theater studios, and then you got production companies out in the world.
Yeah, that
and
doesn't
everything.
surprise me at all. Yeah, porn's a big, big, big business.
Anybody can
You know,
become a
biggest
movie
drugs.
producer nowadays.
Oh,
As
yeah.
long as you got a camera and
Yeah.
you know, you can do it with your phones. The phones are good
Hey.
quality wise.
Never mind.
Don't even start that. So, how'd you get the nickname Tree? Who gave that
Obvious,
to
isn't
you?
it?
Can't you
Taller
put that
than-
together?
I know,
Hey.
but yeah, there's got to be a how. Somebody
redwoods.
had to start that.
Redwoods.
Red,
You know,
right.
The tallest one in the world right now is Ulysses S. Grant, and it's 365 feet tall.
It's a big ass tree.
I'm the shortest one.
Yeah. So, do you know who gave you that name to start out with, though?
I did.
Okay.
Before that, I was High Cotton. Before that, I was Shorty.
Okay.
I was going to
I
ask
was
you.
registered High Cotton in Harris County Courthouse in 1978. I went and had an alias. I could legally sign paper
Right.
High Cotton, or I could use Vernon Ridenour, either
Right.
one.
Well, I've noticed online when I'm looking you up and seeing what you've been into, that Jim Smith comes up,
Well, somebody doesn't know something, they put a label on it.
and it just kind of
They don't know my
Branched
name.
out,
Oh yeah, you know, like Smith and Jones and all.
right. Yeah.
No. The information's there, but you really want me, you go to the photograph that shows me wearing a red apron, a black hat, standing out in front of Sam's, ringing a bell for the Salvation Army.
Mm-hmm.
I did that every year for 8 years.
Hmm.
In fact, that was one of the few jobs I could get right after getting out of prison.
Well,
Yeah.
see how that would be.
The other job I had that I could get without any trouble was working at the rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a couple of years.
And you have a background in clinical psychology, is that right?
Yes. And I have people that still call me up and have me deal with their little issues every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as it used to be, but I got, I tell people what to do. If they want to do it, that's fine. If they don't want to do it, that's fine.
Friendly advice.
All I can do is tell them.
Right.
If they want to listen to what I have to say and do it, well, that's fine. I'm not going to lead them down the wrong road. I'm going to give them legitimate answers, but I can only tell them they had to do it.
That's the way it always is, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
And
if you had to name one thing that's been the biggest thing that's ever happened in your life, what do you think that would be?
being born,
Yeah, I can dig that. But I mean, after that, while you were a conscious thinking individual.
well, the thing that I remember more than anything is sitting beside my mama when she's dying, and my mom willed herself to death. She lived, my mom and dad were married for 50-something years. They knew each other 1 week before they got married, and they were married over 50-something years.
Hmm.
When my dad passed away on November the 14th, 2005, and then my mom lived till 2014, and she decided she lived long enough. She drove all the way up until the very end, and she started willing herself to death. She was living in Temple. My brother was there. My sister was there. My sister-in-law came down to Houston, picked me up in a car, and drove me back. I got back up there at 5 o'clock, went in, sat down next to my mom, took her by the hand as she was talking to me, and the machine started going crazy at 10 minutes after 7.
Mm-hmm.
You said she willed herself to death?
She willed herself to death. She lived long enough. It was time for her to go. And I know exactly where she is.
Mm-hmm.
I know she's there.
That's tough. Tough for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tough for everybody.
But my mom wouldn't die until I was there.
Yeah.
She had my brother send his wife down to Houston to pick me up, to take me back there, so I would be there.
She waited for you.
Yeah.
My mom was, I'm a Leo. My mom was a Leo. My mom was not just my mom was also my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand anything when I was a kid. And then I came to realize as I started getting older how great of a mom I really had.
Yeah. It's understandable.
It's a shame that
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't dawn on the youth. Generally, people I think are in their 20s before they
you could never
realize.
say anything bad about me around my mom. My mom was 5'2", weighed 100 pounds soaking wet. She would tear into you like a badger on.
Yep.
Mama
Tell
Bear.
you what, that's it. Mama Bear syndrome, man.
Hey,
There's nothing like it.
My mom
Yeah.
was one of 14 children. She was the oldest of the 14. While her mom and dad were out in the fields, my mom raised the kids.
Yeah, being the oldest, you're responsible for all the rest of them.
And she handled them all.
Yeah.
Even her big old brothers.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were lumbermen up in Alaska.
Any of your siblings? How many? You've got a brother you
I got a
mentioned
brother
and a sister, and neither
My
one.
brother is 6'3". He's a retired Major, United States Army, did 20 years. He's also a retired Assistant Director of Texas Health and Human Services Health Department for the licensing of the nursing homes and CNA licensing.
Okay.
My sister retired as a GS-15 as the Assistant Director of the IRS.
There's an extra S there. It's the IRSS.
My sister went to Texas Tech for a year and a half. Came back to Austin in '68 and got a job with the IRS as a tax processor. And before you know it, she was running offices. She did 20 years.
Wow.
And she was running the Atlanta office when she retired.
Wow.
How tall is she?
How tall is she?
Yeah.
5'6".
Your brother must have really kind of been pissed off. He is 6'3".
Which is a big dude.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's like,
I call
great.
Him, I call him my little brother.
Yeah.
And he tells everybody, no, he's little brother, I'm big brother.
Uh-huh. 6'3", and you're not the tallest one in your family.
Yeah.
Mikey can tell you that my brother and I, we do good now. It's only been in the last 4 or 5 years, though, that my brother and I have gotten along.
That's good. Yeah, at least you found your way.
Well, before that, it was I was the black sheep of the family.
I can
I'm the
dig
one
that too.
I'm the one that went to prison. I'm the one that did wrong. I'm the one that, you know.
I'm glad everything's come back around full circle and
Well,
everybody's close.
God says, if you truly believe, He'll forgive and He'll make it right. Don't do wrong. Now, I try to keep my nose clean. Every now and then I pop off and say something. But usually I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm not going to shoot anybody anymore. Might stab them though.
Yeah.
I collect swords and knives,
Yeah.
you know, and I do have some pretty nice knives that I can pull out on somebody if I really got mad at them. Now, Bill, I run around with him, right?
Yeah.
He knows I can't have guns, but
Mhm.
when we go somewhere and he's inside, he lays his 38 next to me and says, use it if you have to. He knows I will,
Right.
you know.
There's nothing wrong with people defending themselves.
Right. But I try to be a nice person. Like I say, I go somewhere, no matter where I go, I'm going to stop and talk to somebody. It's about getting them to smile, getting them to have a great day, getting them to be recognized and appreciated, letting them know that somebody cares.
Hmm. When I met you in that restaurant last week, that's where all this began.
Well, your buddy.
Yeah, my buddy was over there talking to you, and
Yeah,
I thought
I picked on him. I said, asked him how short
he never
was.
talks to anybody.
And I told him that I would love to be your height. I could hide. He said, what do you mean?
Yeah, he's like 6'1", 6'2".
It'd be nice to be 6'1", but I could do something wrong and I had somebody say, oh, he did it, he did it.
Yeah, he could blend into the background a little
Yeah.
bit. But I met you. I walked over to see who's your friend, my buddy at work, and he's talking to Mr. Vernon here. And he goes, I don't know, I just met him. And I met Vernon in 2 seconds. All right, maybe 10. I got to have you on the show, man.
Well, and then my little buddy was there too.
Yeah.
You see, my little buddy's weird too. He just had heart surgery last week.
Mhm.
We're in there having chicken fried steak because he also got his implants back 2 days before.
So it was a celebration. He was going to get the chicken fried steak. Oh, that was a good
Yeah.
day for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I even ate with my teeth in my mouth.
There you go. That's living, brother.
He'll tell you that normally I don't eat with my teeth in my mouth. I don't normally even wear my teeth.
Well, unless you're getting dressed up for someplace.
Yeah, that's
you know.
right. Get dressed to go somewhere, put your teeth in your mouth.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like putting a tie on. There you go.
I'm at a shop one day and the girl says, what pretty teeth you have. I said, you want them?
Yeah, they cost me enough.
Yeah. No, these only cost me $1,400.
That's pretty cheap, isn't it, for a
Yeah.
set of False
Affordable
teeth.
dentures did them. They pulled 3 teeth, did some scraping on underneath my tongue,
Wow.
and made the plates and had the teeth in my mouth all in one day.
Wow.
And then 18 months later, I went back and had them reline them
Mhm.
after my gums settled, and that's all I've been there. Now my buddy, he's been there in and out of affordable dentures. He did his too, but he's been having problems with his ever since they had him. But he went and got the implants where the studs,
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah.
surgeries. Yeah, and a lot of.
$30,000.
And he's having
crazy.
problems.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't want to run out of time before we have to get to your artwork. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before?
Not really. I can see that you're quite an artist. I mean, this stuff that you brought today is
Yeah.
top notch. I mean, it's excellent.
I'm
And
self-taught.
I'm hoping that the cameras will do it justice. I may end up getting up and putting this stuff in front of one or two of these cameras to see if we can get a clear image of.
That's a
of
good
few
idea.
of them. Yeah, because it's worth it.
So generally, these are what he brought today is what'd you call it? Fine.
Pen and ink or
Straight
basic,
line or
you
something
know,
like that.
It's pen and ink. It's
pen and ink
but
drawings.
I added the color because black and white drawings don't really sell. People don't like.
It's a little hard to see without some color to show the shapes and stuff, I would imagine.
And then it kind of shows my forte, which is country,
Yeah, Texas, rural
Rural, right.
stuff.
old tractors.
I'm going to hold this up, and you can describe it. How's
Well,
that?
that's your typical ranch scene with your longhorn. You know, Texas is
Let
known
me
for
see
its
that.
longhorns.
Let me
but
see it. I'll put it on this camera
You
here.
got the cistern, the windmill, the old barn. And I try to make it where you're looking at the barn, you can see through the barn.
Uh-huh. And this is kind of a matching set, I guess,
Well,
or
that one
at
with
least
the
they are the
tractor.
same size.
Yeah, I like old tractors,
Yeah.
so I went out and got a book on tractors so I would know exactly what I was drawing.
Mm-hmm.
But I can usually sit down and draw any piece of old farm equipment or something rural.
Uh-huh.
You name something, I can probably draw it.
Well, I get into drawing a little bit too, and I like pencil or ink, and I like old stores. Like if you could find the perfect abandoned store, general store, with the Coke signs and the old
Well,
gas pump
but-
outside or something.
What you want is, it's usually a one-story building with a false front. It has a glass window, and the door in between.
Yeah.
The door
Wooden porch.
went back about 4 feet, and they had glass around that where they had their little displays.
Mm-hmm.
Then you walked into the store, shelves everywhere,
Candy
and
things.
and then the counter with the jars with all the candy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is Hank thought it was a cow. I pointed out to him that this is a bull.
I did that because my brother and both we're Longhorns. you know.
Right.
So that's kind of like
This is my favorite out of the whole bundle.
1836, huh?
Yep. The Alamo itself, and I bought this one myself before Hank could grab it. I love it. I love everything about it.
Let me show that close up.
To me-
it's going to look great in a frame on my wall.
I had a picture years ago by an artist that was back at that time. And when I was in prison, I did a drawing of what the Alamo looked like after the battle.
Yeah.
How it was all spread out all over the.
No dome roof or anything
No,
like
none-
that.
no-
There was a
nothing.
wall in the courtyard,
The Alamo ended up being a bar. It was
army
a storehouse
base, yeah, a
and
store.
everything afterwards.
Mhm.
You know, Judge Roy Bean used to haul goods from that area all the way out there to Landry
Mhm.
when he had his little courthouse
Right.
in West Texas.
Here's a nice
Now that one I did
windmill.
where you have your Texas flag on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And this
how
is
I-
all one piece too. This is not a mat going around that or anything. He's done all that.
And that's why I did that, so you could slap it in a picture frame.
And
not
these are
have to
done
worry
on
about it.
poster board, right?
Huh?
On poster board, is that what this
Well,
is?
it's illustration board. I use Bristol board 300 series.
Okay.
It holds the ink pretty good. It does the felt ink pretty good, and doesn't bleed that bad. But I like the smoothness. I don't like a texture paper. I like a smooth paper.
Okay.
Your typical country.
Mhm.
What I do a lot of times too, like on that one, I got a mat the line all the way around. Every now and then, I won't put a line where the road is. I'll leave it open, and I'll have the road look like it comes outside of the mat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that it gives it a little bit more depth
Right.
How long does it take to do one of these larger ones?
a day.
A day? Wow, that's quick.
How long did it take me to do that big one I was working on?
I
I
wanna
got
show
2
this
days in
one.
it, right? I hadn't done any drawing for a year or so, and I started drawing the other day. It took me 2 days to get one of these done.
Mm-hmm. I love the state of Texas. Yeah, in more ways than one, right? You're not tracing any of this, are you? I mean, you're just
And you can tell that's one of my drawings because the signature is usually on the left-hand side, not the right-hand side. And you have the little trick, looks like where the water is running over the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my trademarks.
Okay.
And everything is done in straight line.
Now, what is straight line? What, just where you
Little
make?
tiny little.
So you're
little
just
tiny
making
little
all
straight-
straight lines.
Some people use dots.
Uh-huh.
Some people do a sketching technique and everything. I just
all the shading and everything is all lines. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That is just awesome.
Let me do a close up on that.
and if somebody's from Arkansas,
I was born in Little Rock.
But I say, if somebody said, "Oh, I'm from Arkansas, can you do that?" I can do the shape of Arkansas and do something.
Oh yeah, that's real tough.
Florida is kind of hard but I can do any state, you know.
Yeah. In Michigan, you can just trace your hand, you right?
Well, what about the upper peninsula though?
Pinky on the other hand.
That little finger that sticks over, shaped like a triangle, that's Michigan also.
How'd that get lost in the mix like that? I mean, doesn't it feel kind of lonely out there? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, these are amazing. This
Well,
is.
you know, Texas used to go all the way up to Canada.
Sure did. All the way out to California too.
Almost. But New Mexico and up through Colorado, up into Idaho and up that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are amazing. So, how did you learn to draw like this? I mean, was it something you
God.
went to school for,
No,
or
God.
just natural?
I started drawing when I was 3. I drew what I could see. At that time, it was tanks and trucks and then along the way, just draw this, draw that. You name me an object, say a wheelbarrow, I can draw it. You say a windmill, I can draw it. An old plow, I can draw it. A car, I can do some rectifying stuff. We were talking about these things. These are one of my oddities. I'm also a caricaturist.
Okay.
I do cartoons.
That's cool. Yeah.
The gentleman that was having lunch with me when Mark met me, I've done 315 cartoons for him.
And what does he do with them?
Use them for advertising. He's got them on his office walls. He's got a stack of them. Santa Claus type stuff. I did 2 big old 32 by 40 boards that he uses when he's doing his Santa Claus gig at Christmas time.
And back in the day when you were doing illustrations for Universal Studios, that's when cartoons were all drawn by hand.
Yes. One frame at a time. At that time, it was about 12 frames per second.
Wow. Yeah.
Now it's more like about
60.
36
Well, 30
to
for
60.
cartoons, yeah, 36,
They're-
something like that.
They're a lot quicker. They
Yeah.
got better. They don't look like they're moving like a robot. They got that continuous movement. So it takes more frames to do that.
Yeah, but those aren't being illustrated by hand anymore.
No.
Yeah, that's all computer generated stuff now.
99% of it computer generated, what do they call that? Adobe.
Yeah, it's too bad because I mean, it's that kind of art shouldn't be lost.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, you got enough people that do regular drawings, you know, that do this and that. You still have some cartoonists that still do regular storyboards, you know, and where the frame by frame by frame.
So, do you remember what cartoons specifically that you worked on that were televised back then, or?
No, basically, I did all the background work on all kinds of crazy ones,
Okay.
cartoons, you know, everyday Woody Woodpecker, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So your artwork is for sale. I don't want to gloss past that too much.
Well, what do they say? Everything's for sale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if the price is right, you know.
And where can they find your stuff, man?
Huh?
Where can they find your stuff?
Where can they find my stuff? At my house?
Okay.
All right. Well,
So they can get in touch with us, and then we can get in
All right,
touch with
yeah.
you, and
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to have to put up with Mark for a while after this is over.
yeah, I think
because
so because I already got some
I think-
ideas.
I think I sparked his curiosity.
Yeah,
I
I think
want
so.
to do the Studio 13 limo with me and his cartoon heads hanging out of it.
Well, how about more like a rat fink type thing?
Well, yeah, that could be okay, but most of the rat finks, they had no hood and the engine was sticking out, or the rat fink
Well-
had to look around it.
Well, they usually took the vehicle and made it a convertible.
Yeah,
So that he could
so that
stick
the
up.
rat fink
Yeah.
could,
And yeah, with the and they loved the big engines with the pipes and everything. But,
right, yeah.
But that was
Smoke coming off, fire out of the exhaust and everything.
Right.
Rat fink
But-
deal is okay.
But things like that. But What is the Studio 13 limo?
That is the car that you rode up here today.
It's not the vehicle he owns.
He doesn't own a vehicle.
Yeah, I'm not a driver.
They fired him from driving 20 years ago.
What does your wife drive?
My wife drives a truck.
A truck.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, that's a Texan. You're driving a truck.
Yeah.
Ford or Chevy?
It's a Toyota.
A Toyota. Well, that's not too bad.
There goes the Texan part.
Yep.
Toyotas were made
I'll
in
be
San
here when
Antonio.
you come back around.
Toyotas were made in San Antonio. So.
Yeah. Hey, it's
Are
a
you-
great truck. It's a
Are y'all
Tacoma.
done? So we'll talk about the Dodge Challenger as soon as we get off of here.
Oh yeah, that now is a classic, even though it's brand new almost.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to make any more after this year. The Challenger and the Charger are no more.
Yeah,
Right.
after I bought that, there's no more cool people left worthy of driving
That's
them.
it.
Now they're going to have the Dodge Dart.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember the
Yeah, they
Dart
were
and
actually
the
kinda
Hornet.
cool
Remember that
looking.
little Hornet and all
Or the
that
Hornet.
crap.
That's what they're going to come out with next.
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
They won't be near as cool as they were in 1965.
Well, Vernon, how old are you?
Older than dirt.
Older than dirt.
Let's see. In August, I'll be 76.
76 years old. So, from a person who's 76 years old, if you had to wrap up advice for life in one or two sentences, what would it be?
Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
Okay.
Pure and simple.
That pretty much covers it all. Show
Yeah.
respect, be nice, don't
stuff.
take people's stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you want respect, give respect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I've enjoyed having you on the show. I think it's been great.
Well, I enjoyed it. I don't mind talking.
You've lived an interesting life, and obviously a very talented individual too. So
Well, everything I got came from one place, God.
there you go. Yep, the creator of all things.
Sometimes I denied it, but once I got a little older, with age does come wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and you move a little slower. You got a little bit more time to appreciate what you have, what you don't have.
We could all use a little lesson in that.
Find out that sometimes you don't need what you think you need.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, you got anything else?
I'm just so glad you came out here and we were able to set this up so nice and easy. And it was a pleasure meeting you and having you on the show. Thank you.
Well, I like doing something different every now and then.
There you go.
This
Well,
is different.
you can add this to your list of stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
There you go.
Vernon Ridenour.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
For Mark Hogan, I'm Hank Vatt. This is Hank's Think Tank, and I guess we're out.